जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रजकाचार्य श्रीमद् श्री प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4, Text 5. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. bahūni me vyatītāni. janmāni tava cārjuna. tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa
śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāni aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam vettha paran-tapa
Śrī-bhagavān uvāca. The Personality of Godhead said, bahūni, many, me, of mine, vyatītāni, have passed, janmāni, births, tava, of yours, ca, and also, Arjuna, O Arjuna, tāny, those, aham, I, veda, do know, sarvāṇi, all, na, not, tvam, you, vettha, no, paran-tapa, O subduer of the enemy. Translation, purport by joining with the picture on the Bhagavad Gita. The Personality of Godhead said, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Purport. In the Brahma-saṁhitā, we have information of many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated there, advaitam achyutam anadim ananta-rūpam ādyam purāṇa-puruṣaṁ nava-yauvanaṁ ca vedeshu durlabam adurlabam ātma-bhaktau govindamādi-puruṣaṁ tam aham bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning, Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person, always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. It is also stated in Brahma-saṁhitā, Rāmādimurtishu kalāni yamena tishtan nānāvataram akarod bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramā-purāṇyo govindamādi-puruṣaṁ tamaham bhajami. I worship the Supreme Person of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Nrsimha, and many sub-incarnations as well. But who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. In the Vedas also it is said that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidurya stone which changes color yet still remains one. All those multi-forms understood by the pure unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam ātma-bhaktau. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companions of the Lord, and whenever the Lord incarnates, the associates devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjuna is one of these devotees, and in this verse it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivasvan, Arjuna in a different capacity was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjuna is that the Lord remembered the incident whereas Arjuna could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma-saṁhitā as infallible, achyuta, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects, even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjuna. Although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjuna could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body, but the Lord remembers because he does not change his such chid ananda body. He is advaita, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditioned soul is different from his material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta Purport to the chapter 4, text 5, in the matter of transcendental knowledge. Om ajnana-timirandasya jnananjana-salakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai śrī-gurave namaha Śrī Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kada mahyam dadati svapadantikam vandeham Śrī-guro Śrī-yuta padakamalam Śrī-guru Vaishnavamscha Śrī-rūpam sagrajatam sahagana raghunathanamitam tam sajivam advaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya devam Śrī Radha Krishna pada sahagana lalita Śrī Vishakha vitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते सकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Today I had invited my very dear friend ananta-rūpam for giving the class, but his wife delivered a baby in the morning, so he excused himself saying, Prabhu, I can't come, so I happened to sit here. So this sloka and the next sloka, 4.5 and 4.6, are equally important. They both are almost similar. It's about, this chapter is called transcendental knowledge, not ordinary knowledge, not material knowledge, because Arjuna and Krishna are already discussing very serious matter. What are they discussing? What is Arjuna and Krishna discussing? About the war? Okay, what else are they discussing?
He was asking he's senior by birth, sun god.
Yeah.
So then how come I understand that?
Yes.
Who taught this knowledge to sun god?
The previous shloka was like aparo bhavata janma, like how Vivaswan is senior in birth to you, and you are telling that actually I spoke this Bhagavad Gita to sun god in the past. How do you believe that, right? So that actually Krishna is talking about himself. So in this whole Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Krishna is actually, Arjuna is confused about his duty. He is confused means he is supposed to fight as a Kshatriya. He is not actually willing to fight because he sees that all of them are going to be killed. If they are all killed, who is going to enjoy life with? Everyone will be killed. His children will be killed, his brothers will be killed, his fathers will be killed, uncles, all of them. Guru will be killed. Nobody will be there with him. So he is actually worried. If all of them killed and I have all the whole universe, whom am I going to enjoy life with? Right? And this description goes on. And here, this chapter is called transcendental knowledge. There is two kinds of knowledge. One is material knowledge and there is spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge is also called transcendental knowledge. Transcendental means something which the senses cannot perceive. You cannot perceive with your senses. Now I'll ask you a question. Okay, I'm speaking. With what am I speaking? With my mouth. And you are hearing. And what are you hearing with?
Yes.
Yes. Is the ear and the mouth senses? Right? Is it transcendental? But Krishna is telling you cannot understand anything which is transcendental by material senses. Then? Between ether is there. Okay, so? Okay, but I am still using my senses. Sometimes people ask this question. You are saying this transcendental knowledge. How can transcendental knowledge actually be distributed through material senses? Normally the youth boys ask these kind of questions. We actually have too many other things to bother. Right? We don't think, okay, somebody is talking, let's hear and go. Right? But the youth boys actually always try to ask some tough questions. Understand this. The senses in themselves will work within a range. Within a range it will work perfectly. But it cannot, for example, I can see all of you, but I cannot see some star from here. Within the proper distance I can see, the senses will work. So when you repeat the Shastras as it is, then that sound which actually goes is transcendental sound. That's the explanation of the Shastras. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhahe Grahyamidirei Sevon Mukhe Hijuvado Swayameva Spurtyadra. When you actually serve Krishna, by service you start actually understanding these matters better. Anyways, we'll continue this. So it is mentioned that Krishna is telling Arjuna, for the question that he asked, you were explaining everything to Sun God. Sun God is senior by birth. How can I understand that you spoke this to Sun God? But Krishna is telling, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot subdue of the enemy. Krishna is telling, when I spoke to the Sun God, you were also there. But you cannot remember that. I can remember that. Right? So there are so many points which I actually explained in this matter. So many important aspects actually in just one shloka. And Prabhupada has written such a long purport. One time, devotees were actually distributing books, Prabhupada books. And you know, this Bhagavad Gita is 100 rupees. When there's book marathon, we distribute books. And it's 100 rupees, right? So when they were distributing books for 100 rupees, one person said, you see this book, Gita Press actually gives Bhagavad Gita as 20 rupees. Why are you charging 100 rupees for this Bhagavad Gita? So the devotee said, actually for the shloka and the translation is 20 rupees only. 80 rupees for the purports. So that you can understand the 20 rupees value. Whatever is done, because Prabhupada, Krishna is telling, the Personality of Godhead said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot subdue of the enemy. Then it will be confusing. How can Krishna alone remember everything? Why can't I remember everything? Right? So for understanding that, Prabhupada has actually given explanation. Without understanding the purport, you cannot understand the shloka. The shloka is very difficult to understand normally. So here, Prabhupada has quoted a couple of shlokas from the Brahma-saṁhitā. This Brahma-saṁhitā is a very important scripture. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he visited South India, Trivandrum, in this temple called Adikeshav temple. Anybody been to Adikeshav temple in Trivandrum here? No, it's a nice place. We have been there once. So this place, ananta-rūpam Swami is very close by in Trivandrum. So this Adikeshav temple is close to this temple. Lord Chaitanya found the 5th chapter of Brahma-saṁhitā. So in the 5th chapter, Brahma is actually talking about the Supreme Lord. Brahma himself is actually giving his realizations about the Supreme Lord. So that's why actually these are very important shlokas. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, who is the original person, he says. God is a person. God is not light. God is not just energy. God is a person. This is the first thing that we have to understand. Absolute, infallible, without beginning. He doesn't have any beginning. So these are very difficult to understand. How can someone actually be there without any beginning? We all have beginning. We all be possible. So, but to understand Krishna more and more, the Shastras we are actually referred. The interesting part here is that Krishna actually appears in different forms, and even though he appears in different forms, he is still the same person. Different forms like Krishna, Narayana, Narasimha, Varaha, they are all the same person. Difficult to understand, or is it easy to understand? How easy it is to understand? How can different personalities be there with the same, they are all the same person? It is tough to understand. But if you understand this little more, many of us have a question. How many of you feel that Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu? Right? We all actually have that kind of understanding in the South India that Krishna comes from Vishnu. Right? One of the Dashavataras. Correct? But here, if you understand the Shastra, Brahmaji is telling, I worship the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations, such as Rama, Narasimha, and many sub-incarnations as well, but who is the original Personality of Godhead, known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. One small technical detail here. Krishna appears in the original form only once in a day of Brahma. You will read all these things as you go along in Bhagavad Gita. In a day of Brahma, you want to know the calculation of how much Brahma lives? Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Little mathematics, bear with me. For explaining this, I need a background, that is why it's coming. Because flashback. 4,32,000 years is called one Kali Yuga period. 4,32,000 years, out of which we have passed around 5,000 years. 4,32,000 years into 2, that is 8,64,000, is actually that again, the Dwapar Yuga. 3 times Kali Yuga is Treta Yuga, and 4 times this age is Satya Yuga. These 4 together is called one Mahayuga. That is 4,32,000 into 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 10. That's equal to one Mahayuga. 1,000 such Mahayugas is equal to 12 hours for Brahma. What's the math? Night? 12 hours for Brahma. 12 hours is his night. He sleeps for 12 hours. Don't have to be a software engineer. No night calls. 12 hours he sleeps. Then, that's one day. 30 days is a month. 365 days is his year. 100 years he also lives. And that's one lifetime of Brahma. One day of Brahma is 1,000 Mahayugas. In one day, only once the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna as he is, comes. Only once he comes. Otherwise, in other Dwapar Yuga, an incarnation from Vishnu comes, who is also Krishna. But he is not the original Krishna. He is an incarnation of Vishnu. Normally, imagine, to your house, every day one person comes. Okay? In 1 year, only once the original of that person comes. How easy it is to remember who is the original, who is the duplicate. Right? That is why people, especially in the South India, find it very difficult to understand that Krishna is the Supreme. Here Prabhupada mentions that this Krishna, the original person of Godhead, comes only once in a day of Brahma. All other times Krishna incarnates from Vishnu. Technical stuff. Only difference is whenever the original person of Godhead comes, that Krishna will dance with the gopis. That's the only difference. He will do so many pastimes, whereas the Krishna who comes from Kshirodakshai Vishnu will not do all these things. He will only give Bhagavad Gita and go. He will not do other leelas. He is very focused on what he wants to do, and then he goes away. So that is one technical detail we have to understand. That is why Krishna, being the original personality, if you pray to him, if you actually have that faith, it's easy to actually for us to progress. Otherwise, here it's mentioned that Krishna remembers everything. That means he incarnates. Arjuna does not remember. Arjuna reincarnates. We all reincarnate. We die, again we come back. Krishna does not change his body. We change our body, right? We actually die and actually get into another body. But Krishna does not change his body. He is as is. He just disappears. Just like the sun. Sun is actually right now setting. So again tomorrow, somebody else will be actually seeing the sun rising. Similarly, Krishna is like that. Krishna is always there. He just disappears from our vision. And if we request, he will appear. That's actually the different aspect of it. This chapter is actually a pretty... the first chapter wherein Krishna actually talks about himself. Till this point, Krishna never speaks about himself. Krishna is only actually arguing with Arjuna, what are you doing? You don't understand, you are not the body, you are the soul. All those things explaining. But here is the first time he is talking about himself. He will start talking more about himself. Who he is, why does he appear here, what is his personality. He will start explaining all these things. If you have faith, we can understand. Without faith, it's very difficult. Because just by reading the Vedas, one cannot understand or get love for Krishna. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam. Durlabam means very, very difficult. Vedeshu durlabam. If you read the Vedas, you cannot understand Krishna. But if you do ātma-bhaktau, if you actually really serve the Lord, if you do bhakti, then you can understand Krishna a little bit. That is actually the aspect here. if you don't understand anything about Bhagavad Gita, still if you just read the shlokas every day, you will get perfected. Even though you don't understand the meaning of all these things. This is actually the advantage of the Vedic Shastras, especially the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. If you simply recite the shlokas, even though you don't understand anything, just like if you take the medicine, if you are sick, you take the medicine, go to the doctor prescribes the medicine. Do you understand the content of the medicine? You just take it. You don't have the brain to understand because you're already tired. But you still take the medicine and you get cured. Similarly, if you simply recite these shlokas, you get perfected. The 4th chapter, every chapter of Bhagavad Gita actually has a story connected to it. In the book called Gita Mahatmya. Anybody here read Gita Mahatmya? Not much, okay.
Small version is the Gita stories.
Yeah, more or less the Gita Mahatmya. Like, the Gita Mahatmya is a very, very important book because you'll know the glories of these chapters. Sometimes you think, what is the point in attending this? What am I going to get? There's so many pastimes, so many stories. Every chapter. The 4th chapter has a very nice pastime. The Gita Mahatmya was actually discussed between Lord Shiva and Parvati. Parvati Devi is asking Lord Shiva, what are you actually meditating on? And every now and then actually you're sitting, closing your eyes, but you're laughing, you're smiling. What is happening? Tell me. When Parvati asks this, Lord Shiva tells, I'm actually laughing basically because I see how Krishna is actually behaving. I'm feeling like laughing, so I'm laughing. He says, what is that you are actually laughing on? Tell me also, I also want to hear. So Lord Shiva explains the Gita Mahatmya to Parvati. So, but he quotes, what is the conversation between Lakshmi and Narayan? Lakshmi Devi is asking Narayan, you also, whenever I press your feet, you are lying and closing your eyes, but then I see you are smiling. Sometimes you smile, sometimes you are normal. What is happening? He says, I am actually seeing my devotees doing certain activities which makes me laugh. So he tells her, there's one story he tells. There once lived a saint by name Bharat. So this Bharat was living in the banks of the river Ganges. So this Bharat once actually visited the bank of the river Godavari. Down the south. So this is all there in the Shastras. This is not actually mythical stories. This actually happened in the past. So when he came there, he was a very great saint. He was a devotee of the Lord, and he used to recite the 4th chapter every day. So one time he came to this place, and after visiting the town, he wanted to go back to Varanasi, which is actually the bank of the Ganges. When he was going back, he found 2 trees, bale trees. And in the bale trees, he saw, okay, a nice place to sleep. So he actually lied down there in the afternoon. He was resting. So he took the one root of the tree as his head. He put his head as a rest. And the feet, he put it on the other root. Both the trees. So he slept nicely. And then he got up after in the evening. He said the 4th chapter. And he went. Very soon, these 2 bale trees started drying up. And then they collapsed. They died. After dying, they both were actually born as the soul which was there in the 2 trees were born as 2 young girls. They became young girls. They are 2 daughters of a very pious Brahmana. Again in the bank of river Godavari. They were born in that area. So one time their father actually took them to Varanasi. So when both the girls were little, maybe about 5-6 years, they were actually roaming around. So when they actually reached this Varanasi, they saw this Saint Bharat. So they went to Bharat, they identified it. Oh Bharat, thank you so much. You came and then delivered us. So Bharat was actually worried. He was confused, like, who are these 2 people? I don't remember anything like delivering anybody like this. So he asked them, who are you? Who are both of you? And when did I come to deliver you? So these 2 girls actually explain. We will tell you the story. There's a background about the story. We were the 2 bale trees. You actually lied down there and recited the 4th chapter. So we heard the 4th chapter, and after that, because your body touched us, we were liberated from being a tree. That's the only qualification. Bharat was not a great personality. He used to recite 4th chapter every day. Full 4th chapter he used to recite. loudly. This is the only qualification he had. Then these two girls say, actually we were two apsaras. In Treta Yuga, there lived one yogi by name Satyatapa. This Satyatapa was a very, very powerful sage, and he used to do austerities so heavily. Today, when we actually ask people to do Ekadashi, right, we'll say Nirjal, oh no, non-grain, right? So it's a difficult, fasting till noon and all is very difficult. But this sage was doing an austerity so powerful. In the winter, he used to actually stand in the middle of the river in December, cold water. In the night, he used to stand in the middle of the river and not come out of. Whole night he used to stand. Every night he used to stand there. And in the summer, he used to put fire around him and sit in the center and meditate. That was his austerity. And this austerity was so powerful, eventually his heart became pure. This is called the Ashtanga Yoga process. You control your senses, so you don't get disturbed at all. So he became very powerful. And because he became very powerful, he started doing devotional service so nicely that Brahma himself appreciated him. And Brahma himself started meeting him, saying that you tell me, how did you get purified like this? Let us talk about Vishnu's pastimes and things like that. Indra became worried. So because Indraji, his position is so that he's done so much of pious activities, and because of that he has become Indra. Now, anybody who does this kind of pious activities can become the next Indra. So Indra was worried. So he called two apsaras and said, you go and break this fellow's austerity, because normally that's how in the olden days they used to break austerities, easiest way. So these two apsaras came, danced whatever they can in front of Satyatapa. So they wanted to, their intention was that Satyatapa should actually break his penance, right? In that kind of mood, they danced. When they danced so much that Satyatapa actually opened his eyes, they were half clothed. Because they were half clothed, he became very angry, and he took his kamandala water, and with the water he actually cursed both of them, saying that you people have no respect, so you become trees. So they both apsaras begged forgiveness. So we were just servants of Indra. Indra told us to do this, we are doing, so please bless us that, we are not at fault. So the sage said, don't worry, one point in time, Bharat, one of the saint will come, he will deliver you. Till then, you will have to be trees. Very risky to play with very, very big sages. One time, Srila Prabhupada was taking his disciples to Kumbh Mela in the 70s. You know, heard about Kumbh Mela?
This year also.
It already happened? Yeah. So every 12 years something, this Mahakumbh is there, but every year there is some Kumbh Mela happens, right? 2013, okay. So Prabhupada to come, and there was, and most of Prabhupada's disciples are all Westerners. And for Westerners, Kumbh Mela is like a lot of fun. People actually press their nose, stand on one leg, or they'll stand upside down, right? And some people actually are under the water, only the head will be up. So they all started laughing. All these devotees actually started laughing, look at that fellow, because the person who was actually standing upside down, he looked like a clown, he was like a joker. They all laughed. Prabhupada said, don't laugh at them. They are very powerful. If they curse you, you'll be in trouble. So just be away from all these people. So it's not wrong. So just you'll find these kind of things happening in Kumbh Mela. That a lot of very powerful people are there. So this Satyatapa told, don't worry, since you have not made a mistake, but you have to stay like this, but eventually you'll get liberated. Right? And so these two trees, so they remember, the sage also blessed them that you will remember all your past birth. So these two girls tell the sage Bharat, this is what happened, and because of leading, you read Bhagavad Gita in front of us only once, we got liberated. Now please teach us the entire Bhagavad Gita. So they started reciting the 4th chapter every day, these two girls, and eventually they get devotion for Krishna and they go back to Krishna. Just by chanting this 4th chapter. That's the glory of 4th chapter. We could also do it. if you don't understand all these things, at least recite. You will make progress, right? So here it is also mentioned that whenever Krishna Krishna is never alone. You should always understand that. Krishna is never alone. Krishna is either with Lakshmi Devi or Radharani or Rukmini or somebody, or Balram, or the cows, or other animals, parrot like, or else with the devotees. He is never alone. Krishna will never be alone. You can see any picture of Krishna, somebody will be there along with him. One devotee should be there, or else his consort should be there. He was never alone, always the case. Here it is mentioned, Krishna is talking about Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, right? The sun god. Vivaswan comes in the śrī-bhagavān Kshatriya. From there comes all the different Kshatriyas, the rulers of the world. Śrī-bhagavān is Krishna, and the Surya Dev is actually the beginning of that, right? Sometimes people say, always understand one thing, Surya Dev is a position or a post. It's not a person. We can also become Surya Dev. We can also become Surya Dev. So the Surya has a planet and Surya has a president. That president name is Vivaswan. Our Surya Dev president name is Vivaswan. So every time Surya Dev changes. To this Surya Dev, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. And when he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was standing next to him. But in a different capacity, Krishna says that he was also there. I remember that, you don't remember that. You cannot remember these things because you change your body. I don't change my body, so I remember everything. We change our body every 7 years, our body changes. So we can't remember. If you want to remember what you did same time yesterday, do you remember? You have to think. 1 year before, difficult. 10 years before, 15 years before, very difficult. But Krishna remembers everything. Yeah. Krishna is also called Achyuta. Achyuta means, here actually the glories of the Lord is mentioned, that Krishna has a body which is Satchidananda. Satchidananda means, Sat means eternal, Chit means knowledge, and Ananda means bliss. Krishna's body is made like this, Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat means eternity, Chit means knowledge, Ananda means bliss. He is always blissful. There is no, Krishna never feels morose. How many of us feel morose sometimes? We all feel, no? Sometimes only we are happy. Right? Why? Because we are inside the body. This body is matter, and this matter is made of Sat, Asat, Achit, Nirananda. No knowledge. The body can't survive on its own. Till the soul is there, body will be there. Asat, Achit. Achit means, Chit means knowledge. Achit means this there's no knowledge of this body. The body can't think on its own. And Nirananda, it's always painful. Because we identify with this body, we also think like this. But how do we actually overcome all these things? How do we understand all these things? The easiest way is actually to do pure devotional service. It's just like Prabhupada gives a lot of examples, very simple examples he gives. If you are hungry, what is the way to actually overcome hunger? You have to eat. But if you don't have anything to eat, you have to go cook something. You have to do some activity, right? If you keep thinking, I'm hungry, I want to eat, will you be able to? Your hunger will not go. Similarly, simply thinking that I want to do devotion service is not sufficient. You have to do devotion service. You have to do some practical activity. How? Very simple. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam idrai sevon mukhe hi Jivvado. Jivva means tongue. Start with the tongue. Sometimes you'll be wondering, how do you serve Krishna? Easiest way, start with the tongue. What can I do with the tongue? Two things definitely. You can speak and you can eat. Right? These two things definitely everyone can do. The easiest way is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you keep chanting like this, the tongue is being used to vibrate. This sound vibration can purify you. Number one. And then Krishna Prasad. Whenever Prasadam is actually given, take that Prasadam. Take that as mercy of Krishna. Then when you do that, automatically get purified. Then you can understand these things easily. Otherwise it's very difficult to understand these things. This is the way pure devotion service is done. First you start with devotion service, pure devotion service come later. At least start with some service. First seva. Pure seva will come later. Right? But many a times it is said, we always think that we are superior. Right? But then here Krishna actually says that he calls Arjuna by a name paran-tapa. The meaning of paran-tapa is subduer of the enemy. Subduer means one who defeats the enemies. Paran-tapa means kill, or not kill, I would say, defeat someone. It's called paran-tapa. We don't keep these kind of names these days. Neither do we call in this language. Right? But in the Vedic times they had these kind of conversation, very different way of talking. So this paran-tapa, Krishna, Prabhupada is mentioning, even though Arjuna is liberated, Arjuna is able to see Krishna and talk to him. We don't do that. We can talk to Krishna, but he doesn't respond. Right? He doesn't tell us directly. But here Arjuna is liberated. But still, he is not able to remember what happened in the past. It's not easy. It's tough. We should never think that we are the superior most. There's one story I heard. There was one army senior. In army, everything is actually very rule-based. One army senior had a fight with a junior. So he told the junior, you stand in the sun and then salute. Whoever comes and goes, you salute. Just say like this. So this fellow was doing that for quite some time. He was just saluting like this. So one major came around and saw that, what are you doing? Why are you actually standing here in the sun and doing this? He said, actually my senior told me to do this. So the senior called the captain, who is the person who punished him. He said, don't you know this in the army camp? Whenever somebody actually salutes you, you should also salute him back. If you don't salute him back, then that's actually considered as an offense or something not very respectable. Since he is actually saluting, you stand and receive his salute. So this captain didn't have an option. He also had to stand in the sun and do the same thing. So we should never think that we are the superior most. There is always one person more superior than us always. Right? So Prabhupada used to quote this once in a while to say that sometimes the temple presidents used to tell, I am ordering you to do this. Simply do this. So the devotee used to feel bad what to do, and they used to go and tell Prabhupada, I didn't want to do this, but president is asking me to do this. So Prabhupada used to tell this story, and then for both of you I am the boss. You both listen to me. Don't fight, because if you fight, there is no value, right? In Bombay one time, Srila Prabhupada was actually sitting with all the life members, and one of the life members was complaining, Prabhupada, when you are not here, when you are traveling, these God brothers, so-called your disciples, all American boys, were fighting like anything. So Prabhupada asked them, are you surprised by their fighting? He said, yeah, I mean, you are devotees, how can devotees fight? Actually, I am not surprised by fighting. I am surprised that they are chanting Hare Krishna. Anybody will fight in this world. Conditions will mean there will be fight. Brothers will fight, husband, wife will fight, teacher and disciple will fight, everyone will fight. Fight is common in the conditioned world. But not everyone will chant Hare Krishna. We will think, I will chant Hare Krishna definitely, but you will not chant Hare Krishna. We find it very difficult to chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because we don't want to go back to Godhead. Krishna is telling, come, come, come. We said, no. Right? So Prabhupada started laughing, saying that That's the condition. They are chanting Hare Krishna. They are foreigners, they are Western bodied people. They are not born in our culture. People in our own culture don't chant Hare Krishna. We can see how many of us chant 16 rounds. Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna every day. We see 16 rounds, 2 rounds, 1 round, 2 rounds. Krishna will know my heart. Right? You have time for everything else, right? But except chanting. Right? And mind is always disturbing us. They will not allow us to chant. But we should understand that Krishna is so wonderful and Krishna's names are all powerful. Krishna means Akarshan iti Krishna. Krishna's names are one which actually attracts everyone. Krishna means the power of Krishna's names are so powerful that one need not actually add anything. You don't need any yoga asana. You don't need to actually do something like taking a bath, anything. You simply chant Hare Krishna, it will actually have the effect. Of course, all these things are good because if you are in a good posture, it's easier to chant. Right? But the focus is to chant Hare Krishna, not to actually focus on the physical aspect of how you are chanting. Every name has different meanings. Anything you take in this world, in the material world, but Krishna means, it has only one meaning. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any language you take, it cannot mean anything else. That is actually the power of Krishna. For example, some people in South India have long names, very long. They sometimes put one ABCD Raju or something. I'm sorry, I'm not taking any names, but some ABCD Raju. Then that ABCD will have a big expansion. Then we call Raju. I had a classmate of mine, his name was, we used to call him Ramki. His name was Ramakrishna, Sivaramakrishna Bharatam. And they used to call Ramki, or short name, right? So, but if you go to China, they say Hu. That's all, HU, that's his name. So they identify like that. And then if you say, sometimes one of the devotees was telling, you know this word kaka? Kaka means, in the north actually it means uncle, right? But if you come in south, especially Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, kaka means crow. If you call someone kaka, they'll become angry, right? Right? You are calling me a crow? So, same word. But then different meanings, right? But Krishna is not like that. Krishna means Supreme Lord. Whether an American chants Krishna's name, or an Indian chants Krishna's name, or an African chants Krishna's name, the effect will be the same. They will get attached to Krishna. So that is actually the power of the holy name. So we should not think that Krishna is actually weak, or Krishna is okay. Maybe Krishna is a god of love. Where love is there, power will not be there. Right? But one time, one of Prabhupada's disciples, early days they used to paint Krishna. Right? They started painting. All these paints were made by Krishna's disciples. So wonderfully they were painted. They are not Indians. They are all Westerners. Simply because they were actually meditating the heart, they actually were able to paint it nicely. One time, the first time when they actually made, Krishna was actually lifting the Govardhan, right? So when one devotee actually painted, arms were like heavy biceps, like what example can I say? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, kind of like huge, like weightlifter, full bulky stuff, and then holding hands like this. Prabhupada, what is this all about? So like Krishna is holding such a huge mountain, you need power, no? So without that, how can I actually lift it? So muscles should be there, no? Without muscles, how can you lift? Prabhupada said, this is not Krishna actually. Krishna is all powerful. He is hard as a thunderbolt, but soft as a rose. He is very soft. Very, very soft. But whereas he is so powerful that even thunderbolt actually can't stand. Thunderbolt is supposed to break mountains. Thunderbolts are very powerful. But Krishna's body is more powerful than thunderbolt. Very powerful it is. So then they had to actually make. That is why you see Krishna's body, it looks very soft. No muscles. Absolutely no muscle. Because Krishna does not need muscle. If you see with the way Hiranyaksha and Varaha they fought, they both were. Hiranyaksha was very bulky. And Varaha was a normal boar, right? The pig. Do you see pig having muscle and all? No. So Varahadev was fighting for quite some time and took his paw, whatever is there. What do you call this paw? And what do you call the leg? Varahadev. He actually dropped his mace. He didn't have anything in hand. He just took his four leg, whatever it is, and hit like this on Hiranyaksha's cheek. And Hiranyaksha's, the whole danger came out, right? Eyes popped out, right? And he couldn't stand there and he just fell dead. Just one slap. So Krishna does not need all this big power and things like that, right? We can't appreciate Krishna's beauty so easily. Many times actually we find very difficult to appreciate. How many of you seen any Steven Spielberg movie? Heard about Steven Spielberg? Very creative movies. These movies are very different kind of movies. I mean, many people appreciate those kind of things, right? But nobody appreciates how the heart is functioning. How the heart is pumping the blood all the time, right? Or if you just think about how eyes are working, how is eyes able to actually take this, whatever we are seeing, and then process it? Is that not a miracle? Nature is really a miracle. Who created all these things? It's Krishna who's created, but we don't really appreciate his power unless until you hear and start meditating on that. Anything you take, for example, even in the Sanskrit, there are a lot of wonderful shlokas which are mentioned. The trees are called paran-tapa. That means what eats with its food. If you see the trees eat food from its foot. It takes water from the root, right? From the foot it actually takes the water up. And it actually circulates everything. The water is circulated across and it gives very tasty fruits. You see pomegranate. Pomegranate is so nicely packed. How did they pack it like that? If you see that how it's packed, the wonder of that pomegranate, layer by layer it is there. If you actually make it little less, it will start wobbling around, it will all, the juice will all go. More, very difficult. Exact amount, how did it all happen? It can't be just by, that's Krishna's power. We don't appreciate it so much. So this is something that we need to understand, that everything that's there in the nature is because of Krishna's brain. We give people a lot of this Nobel Prize and things like that, but we should appreciate Krishna. He is a real Nobel Prize winner. We should give it to him because it's his brain. Einstein might have invented many things, but then who made Einstein's brain? That's the important aspect. So when we start appreciating the nature, one devotee asked me, how do I become more and more grateful? Because with a grateful heart, grateful and a humble heart, you can appreciate Krishna better. Many times we don't actually are very grateful for what we have. We always want more. Right? But as long as you want more, Krishna is not going to come to us. The day you say, my Lord, you have given me so much, please don't give me any more things. I am happy with what you have given. And that's the day He will start coming to us. But how do we come to that? Because our list never ends. Right? Have you ever thought about it? The day it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, one of the Purport mentioned, the day you start asking something from Krishna, He will disappear and Lakshminarayana stays there. Because Krishna does not want to give anything. He is a person who wants to love. If you love Him, He will love you. When you say love, no expectations. No threats. In the modern language they say, right? No threats. No expectation. You should not expect anything from Krishna. Just simply love Him. Then He will love back. But how do we do that? Prabhupada actually gives a very simple example. Whatever you do, whatever good, not everything, anything that you do good to everyone, forget it. And anybody who does something good to you, remember that always. Hearing what I'm saying? Anything you are going to do good for others, forget that you have done that. And anytime anybody does good to you, remember that always. You will always remain grateful to them. And with that kind of a mentality, you will always remain grateful to the Lord that He's given me all these things. So Prabhupada gives this example that to build gratefulness or gratitude, this is the easiest way. And you become more and more grateful to the Lord for whatever He has given. And we always complain, I didn't get the best wife, I didn't get the best husband, right? And the children are not okay. See the next door neighbor children, how nice they are. Any damn thing. I mean, I didn't get the best job. I studied, I was a topper in the college, but I got a horrible boss. We actually have unlimited complaints. We never tell the Lord that, thank you my Lord, you have given me the best possible for me. We don't know the past. Do we know why we are getting this? No, we have done some mistake, that's why we are getting like this. Krishna has given us the best. If you appreciate it, thank you for all whatever you're doing, then that gratitude, the gratefulness feeling will attract the Lord. And the Lord will start revealing Himself to us. That's the most important aspect that we have to cultivate. The gratefulness is the most important aspect, along with humility. Humility will automatically come when you actually are very grateful. You will not actually complain that I didn't get this, I didn't get that. Right? In that kind of consciousness, if you are there, you will start understanding when Krishna says that He is eternal and we are also eternal, but He is the supreme, we are subordinate. Then we will accept it. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand the Shastras so easy. The next sloka actually Krishna talks about, I'm not going to talk about that, how Krishna's body is made. Like our body is made of this skin, what are the things, bone, skin, blood, yeah, all the muscles and all this stuff, right? And in Vedic terminology, kapha, pitta, vayu, right? And if you actually break it, it's nasty. Nobody wants to actually discuss all these things. Kapha, you know what it is. Mucus. Pitta. Pitta is acidic, bile. And vayu, you know, air, gas. These are the only things which are there in the body. But Krishna is not made of this. Krishna's body is made of something like, if I ask you how is Mysore Pak made, you know what are the ingredients of Mysore Pak, right? What is Krishna's body made of? That is what we'll see. Krishna himself will explain what his body is made of. The next verse. Shorten that. Keep reciting this Bhagavad Gita, then definitely you'll start making progress towards the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's actually a technical sloka because Krishna is actually very seriously talking about who he is. Right? And that too in the war field. Any questions? Yeah?
You said that Krishna appears once in a Brahma's life.
One day of Brahma.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was he Krishna or was he incarnation of Krishna?
Okay. So Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We can see the Panchatattva center below Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai. You see the Panchatattva picture. Center is Lord Chaitanya. So when we chant this mantra, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shvasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and take permission to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, this Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Akrishnam Sangopangastra Pasanam Yagnahi Sankirtan Prayi Ajantihi Sumetasana. The Bhagavatam says that normally in Kali Yuga, Krishna appears in a dark color. But here he is Akrishna. Whenever Lord Krishna appears, immediate after that Dwapara Yuga, which Kali Yuga comes, Lord Krishna will appear as Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise, Lord Chaitanya, who is also called Gauranga. Gaura means gold, Anga means body or parts, right? Anga means limbs. His body is golden in color. So this is Krishna himself. But he's come to deliver everyone back to Godhead. When Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. If you see the Bhagavad Gita, the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita, in essence, is that Krishna is telling, abandon all varieties of religion. Abandon everything that you are thinking is correct. Whatever you are thinking is correct, abandon that. Simply surrender unto me. Whatever I am telling you, just do that. I will deliver you. Don't worry. Don't worry about anything else. I will take care of everything. But nobody surrendered. So Krishna himself came as Lord Chaitanya to train others on how to surrender. They both are Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. Krishna is Krishna Avatari. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna Avatari. Krishna only, but he's taken the mood of Srimati Radharani. Getting the difference? So, Lord Chaitanya does not appear in every Kali Yuga. He comes only once in a day of Brahma. When the original Krishna comes, the immediate Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya will appear. So we are very fortunate. 500 years ago he appeared. And that's why we are able to still remember and then talk about. Because Kali Yuga is not meant for Shastra reading, sitting and like this. It's about how to cheat each other. How can I exploit others? How can I cheat the other opposite sex? What can I do? How can I cheat the whole world? That's the mentality of Kali Yuga. And we are sitting here and talking about what good qualities are required to go back to Krishna. It's not actually easy. But Lord Chaitanya has given that freedom for everyone. But the easiest way to do all these things is to stay with the devotees. No matter what difficulty is there, you should keep the difficulties aside, stay with the devotees. At least once a week you should actually be with devotees. If you don't come with the devotees, then this process won't work. You can chant Hare Krishna, it will not work. You have to be with devotees. Only then it will work. It's called Sankirtana. Yajnahi Sankirtana Prayar. Yajanti Sumedasa. Shukadeva Goswami is telling Sumedasa. Medasa means intelligent. Sumedasa means very intelligent. Those who are very intelligent will surrender or take to this process of Sankirtana Yajna. Kirtana means chanting. Sankirtana means chanting together. When we all sang in the beginning, right? So when you do that, that is actually very effective. So Krishna and Lord Chaitanya are not different yugas, but only once in a day of Brahma. So we are very fortunate. Because in Kali Yuga, it's not easy to go back to Godhead. It's not easy to go back to Vaikuntha. You can do Vaikuntha Samadhana. People do that, the 13th day or something like that. But they don't even know where Vaikuntha is first of all. They'll just do it, wait, eat, go. Right? So nobody knows what this is all about. Right? But here we have, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have this information on where Vaikuntha is, how do we go, where is the address, what are those things that we have to do, go to Vaikuntha. Right? And Lord Chaitanya made the process very easy. Because he knew it's not easy to practice all these things. So he gave, simply chant Hare Krishna mantra all the time. You will always get whatever you have to get, you will get it. Don't worry. Right? Hare Krishna. So then whenever somebody comes and tells you that Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu, it is not wrong. But it is not completely correct also. Normally the Sri Vaishnavas believe that Krishna comes from Vishnu, which is what it is. Normally Vishnu takes incarnation of Krishna and appears once, many times. But original Krishna comes only once. Ete chamsha kala pumsam, Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. So Krishna himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why you can see his qualities, what all activities he does. Right? You can not, no other person can even compete anywhere close to what all he does. No other, whoever you think as God, you can check what all Krishna does. Compare whether he has done that kind of person. They won't do it. Yeah, that's how it is. Right? Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.